Buying real estate in Alabama without the right information can be a financial catastrophe. There's hidden fees, unpredictable market shifts, and costly mistakes that can drain your savings and leave you regretting your home buying decision. This video is going to expose the truth and some of the hidden dangers that you need to know and be aware of to protect all of your hard-earned money. Before you make any moves, watch this essential guide and ensure that you don't fall into any of the costly traps and secure your investments safely. Hi, I'm Mary Harmon Young. Welcome back to my channel, your ultimate guide to navigating the Tuscaloosa real estate market. We provide in-depth analysis, expert advice, and the latest trends to help you make informed decisions, whether you're buying, selling, or investing. Sometimes when you're trying to understand the Alabama market, you don't even know where to start. Here's the thing about Alabama's market. We have so many different areas, whether they're rural, big cities. We have some that are growing super fast, like Huntsville, Alabama. And then we have some that are honestly still stuck kind of in the 1950s. So we have a wide variety. Here in Tuscaloosa, specifically in West Alabama, our market is still pretty strong. We do have a decreased number of sales this year. I think we're down about 6% overall year over year. But here's the thing, prices are still up 8%. Our average price point here in West Alabama is about $337,000. And if you are looking to sell, most of our listings are taking anywhere from about 45 to 60 days to sell. But there are some areas that are going much faster to that, as well as some that are taking a lot longer than that. We are really hoping that having the interest rates become a little bit more affordable as they continue to fall will help buyers be able to afford more and open them back up onto the market, as a lot of people have been waiting on the fence just to see what the market was going to do and what interest rates were going to do. Alabama is a little bit weird because we are what we call a caveat emptor state. That means it is a buyer beware state, which means there are no disclosures. So depending on where you're moving here from, you may be used to getting a disclosure sheet with copies of receipts of everything that's been done. And here in Alabama, we just don't have that. The entire burden falls to their buyer and the purchaser, as well as their own buyer's agent, to help them really see how old the roof is, how old the septic system is, and anything like that. So as we look at some of the common pitfalls and what you need to avoid, that caveat emptor really is one of the main things that we need to talk about. Yes, we don't want you to overpay for the property. We want you to see what's typical in our market. We are still seeing seller paying a lot of closing costs. It's not unheard of for me as a listing agent to get an offer with $7,000, $8,000, even $11,000 in concessions towards the buyer's closing costs. So right now is still a great time as a buyer to go ahead and ask for those things. And we are seeing some repairs being made too. I personally do not love asking for repairs. I like asking for an allowance. So that way, as the new owner of the property, you are in control. You get to interview different electricians or contractors. You get to pick. And if there are any warranties, they get to stay in your name instead of expecting the seller doing it and maybe not liking the route that they chose or the contractor that they chose. So, we hear so many different things across the country about, our market still receiving, full price offers or escalation clauses. And while we still see that there are certainly some areas, we're really not seeing a lot of that in the West Alabama market right now. The summer has relatively been pretty slow. So we are seeing anything like a 95% offer would not be unheard of. Because prices are still up 8%, we're not seeing a ton coming off, but we are seeing buyer's agents able to structure offers with contingencies, with repairs, and with the seller paying those closing costs. It is going to be important to have enough time built into your contract for the inspection period because we are that caveat emptor state, so that we have time to not only do a home inspection, but maybe even a secondary in-depth one, because a home inspector is more of a generalized list where they're going to say, hey, this light was flickering. They don't really know why though. So then we're going to have an electrician come in and really see why this light may be flickering. Is it an easy fix? Is it something we need to ask them to give us allowance for, and that kind of thing? And so I always at least like to do a 12-day inspection period. If we go really over 2.5 weeks, it's considered a little long for the seller. So that sweet spot is important for you as a buyer to know, and even as a seller, about what to expect. The thing about Alabama is, depending on where you are, different things cost things. So if you're in the Huntsville or Birmingham market, you probably have more options, whereas in Tuscaloosa, we don't have necessarily a ton of contractors to choose from, so they more do get to name their price. However, as an agent, we can tell you exactly if that is reasonable if you get a quote, or if it's unreasonable and try to help you find somebody else to give you another one. So as anywhere, the location is so important. You hear location, location, location. And that is especially true here in Tuscaloosa. If we're just looking at like the game day, it's easy to see that, you have Bryant-Denny Stadium, right here in the middle of campus. And the closer to that, the more expensive it's going to be. But also we have a railroad track really close to campus. And so the condos that back up to the railroad track are typically not quite as desirable, and that's reflected in the price. The perfect complex that made me think about that is the University Downs. It is very close. It is almost walking distance or bike riding distance to campus, but it has probably, I want to say, maybe 10 or 12 different buildings in their complex. The front 5 are worth more because they don't back up to that railroad track. So if you're just looking at University Downs and you're looking at the comps and you go, okay, well, this one sold for $140, but this one sold for $190. What's the difference? Something must have been wrong. No, it's really just the location. So it can be something that simple of even within the same complex, or it could be, the most requested schools. If you have a child who is really into arts and music, it's going to be important that they have access to the Alberta School of Fine Arts because their program is incredible. If you have a student that is more interested in IB programs and things like that, the Central High School is the only one that currently has that IB program. So having that information to be able to pinpoint the location, not just based on the ratings of the school, but what specific programs they have is going to be so important. Depending on what you're looking for, there are certain neighborhoods that are going to be your favorite. Some of my favorite, if you want to be downtown in the middle of everything, but not surrounded by students, is going to be Deering Place or Shorewood. Downtown, those are great historic neighborhoods that have so much charm. It lets you walk down to Live at the Plaza, walk to the farmer's market, but still give you a little bit of buffer away from the college students. If you are looking for larger lots, it may be that we need to look a little bit further out, like in the north side, because you can get easily 2 or 3 acres, even some new construction. If you are looking for a neighborhood that has it all, that has the pool, that has the playground, that has racquetball courts and sidewalks, depending on that school zone, you may want to be interested in Grand Point in Northport or High Grove here in Tuscaloosa. Of course, it's going to be very dependent on that price point because they're very different price points, but that's something that we can talk more in depth because they could range from like $300 to $400 in Grand Point to really probably $600 and up in High Grove. So knowing exactly kind of what your dream neighborhood looks like and what your dream location looks like is really going to help us be able to narrow down which part of West Alabama might be the perfect fit for you. So here's the thing. There's a lot of legalese and financial things that are, like I said, are different here in Alabama. We are, like I said, the caveat, emptor state, so the disclosure is a big thing. We are also a title state. So once we get everything worked out with the contract and we decide it's time to go to closing, we may not be going to an attorney office. We can, and there are certainly some attorneys that do handle closing. More than likely, we're going to a title agent that is going to be performing the closing. So yes, we still had, lender has worked closely with them, but we don't have that attorney in as kind of the intermediary that some states do have. Alabama does have some specific projects and loan options out there right now. We have the Step Up with the Alabama government. We do have a lot of USDA loans, which is more of a federal. So being able to really find out exactly what you qualify for. I personally offer the Homes for Heroes credits for the local heroes. So that could be foster care, nurses, healthcare workers, firemen, police officers, teachers too. I knew I was missing something. Get a discount for that. And then there's also some mortgage lenders that have special loan options for heroes, for students, for young professionals, and all in between. So it's so important, as I'm sure you can hear, to work with somebody that understands these nuances, can explain it to you and what you're used to in your home state, and really what we need to do to make your experience of buying a home in Alabama not only just stress-free, but also just avoid all those pitfalls. So here's the thing. There are so many hidden gems in Alabama. I know I'm biased because I love it, but if you think you want to be on the lake, and you may say, I want to be on Lake Tuscaloosa. Obviously, that is the most popular one here, but we also have Lake Nickel. We also have Lake Lurleen. We have the Black Warrior River. So we have so many different other options besides just Lake Tuscaloosa if you were looking for a beautiful view outside of your home. When people think about short-term rentals, they think mostly about game day, and therefore they envision it needs to be right downtown. But let me tell you, we have so many different short-term rental properties that are getting just as much, if not more, because they are a cute farm, because they have a great view, because they're walking distance to downtown Northport during the Kentuck Festival, because people don't just want to be right in the middle of the action and the hype for Alabama football. Sometimes they want that sweet view or the calming factor of water and other things. So depending on what you're looking for, we have so many different more ideas of homes and options than you probably realize. We have neighborhoods that have paddleboard lakes. We have neighborhoods that do have shuttles to game day on things. And so we have so many different options, and it's important for you to really envision what you want so that I can help you find exactly what you're looking for. I hope I haven't given you too much information or overwhelmed you, but instead really help give you an overview about some of the nuances in the Alabama real estate market, things to avoid, things to look for. And I have a whole series that really could go in deeper into each one of these topics. So click on that video on the screen right below here, and I'll see you there.